Gravity of Voices and Volumes. Kenan was a second-year college student who found his solace in the quiet hum of the city library. One afternoon, he picked up a weathered newspaper and flipped to the back pages. A small ad in the Personal Connections corner caught his eye. A girl from the distant town of Newcott had written about her love for philosophy and the magic of old books. Feeling a strange spark of curiosity, Kenan pulled out his notebook and carefully wrote down her phone number. The first call was brief, but it left Kenan breathless. The girl's name was Seren. Her voice was melodic and soft, carrying a grace that made Kenan feel as though he had stepped into a different world. From that day on, their nightly calls became a ritual. Though Seren was far away in Newcott, her voice felt closer to Kenan than the very walls of his dormitory. A year passed in a blur of shared stories and whispered dreams. They had never seen each other's faces, yet their souls had become intimately entwined. Seren was a gifted storyteller, painting vivid pictures with her words, while Kenan fell in love with her intellect and the mystery of the girl on the other end of the line. He often wondered if her eyes held the same warmth as her laughter. During one of their long conversations, Seren mentioned a specific rare book she needed for her university studies, a volume so obscure it was nowhere to be found in her town. She spoke of it with a sigh, a small note of disappointment in her voice. Kenan listened intently, memorizing the title and the author, his mind already forming a plan. The very next morning, Kenan headed to the great central library. He spent hours navigating the labyrinth of dusty aisles and high shelves. Finally, tucked away in a forgotten corner, he found it, the thick, leather-bound volume Seren had longed for. As he held it, he felt a surge of excitement. The book was no longer just paper and ink, but a bridge to the girl he had grown to love. Without warning her, Kenan decided it was time for their voices to meet in person. He wrapped the book in beautiful craft paper and tied it with a simple string. He boarded a bus toward Seren's university, his heart hammering a frantic rhythm against his ribs. The year of digital whispers was finally about to become a reality. Standing before the grand gates of the university, Kenan took a deep breath to steady his nerves. He dialed Seren's number and asked her to come to the campus garden near the library. He didn't tell her he was there. He simply said, "Someone has left a book for you by the fountain." From a distance, Kenan saw a figure approaching. She walked with a quiet, measured grace, her eyes searching the garden. Even though he had never seen her, his heart whispered, "It's her." As she drew closer, he realized that her presence was even more luminous and captivating than he had ever imagined. When they finally stood face to face, silence fell between them, heavy and sweet. Kenan stepped forward and held out the package. "This is the book you were looking for," he said, his voice steadying. Seren gasped, looking from the book to Kenan's eyes. In that moment, she knew this was the companion who had shared her thoughts for a year. They spent the rest of the afternoon walking through the university gardens. The year of phone calls blossomed into a deep, effortless conversation that lasted until the sun began to dip below the horizon. Seren was everything Kenan had imagined, wise, mysterious, and kind. The rare book sat between them on a bench, a silent witness to the beginning of a new chapter.